Continuing from the previous section on the Central Arizona Project, CAP, and its crucial role in reducing groundwater dependence, we now turn to another key regulatory component of Arizona's groundwater management framework, the Irrigation Non-Expansion Area, INA. While active management areas, AMAs, focus on long-term water conservation and achieving safe yield through comprehensive regulation, INAs serve as a targeted measure to halt the spread of agricultural groundwater use in regions already experiencing significant depletion. Together, these two mechanisms ensure that groundwater resources are managed both broadly and locally to protect Arizona's future water supply. An Irrigation Non-Expansion Area, INA, is a geographic region designated by the Arizona Department of Water Resources, ADWR, where irrigation of new agricultural lands using groundwater is prohibited. The purpose of establishing an INA is to prevent the further depletion of groundwater in areas that have already demonstrated substantial overdraft or unsustainable pumping. The legal authority for INAs is derived from the Groundwater Management Act of 1980, codified under ARS, Paragraph 45, 431 et seq., which grants ADWR the power to restrict groundwater use in specific basins or subbasins identified as being at critical risk. Unlike active management areas, which impose a comprehensive regulatory framework, including conservation plans, withdrawal permits, and assured water supply requirements, INAs focus solely on controlling the expansion of irrigated agriculture. When an INA is established, no new land within its boundaries may be irrigated with groundwater, unless it was legally irrigated during a designated 5-year historical period before the area's designation. This grandfathering principle protects existing farmers who have relied on groundwater while preventing new users from increasing demand on already stressed aquifers. Currently, Arizona has 3 formally designated INAs: Joseph City, Douglas, and Harquahala. These regions were chosen due to their history of significant groundwater decline caused by agricultural irrigation. For example, the Douglas INA in Cochise County was established after decades of excessive pumping for crop irrigation caused water tables to drop hundreds of feet. In this region, only lands that were irrigated between 1975 and 1980 remain eligible for continued agricultural use. Similarly, the Harquahala INA in western Maricopa County was created to stabilize groundwater levels in an area once dominated by large-scale farming operations that relied exclusively on deep wells. The designation process for an INA begins when ADWR identifies a basin where groundwater use exceeds natural recharge and where future declines could threaten existing users or the local economy. The department conducts hydrologic studies, holds public hearings, and consults with affected landowners before the director of ADWR formally designates the area by order. Once designated, ADWR enforces strict controls on groundwater pumping, including metering requirements, well registration, and reporting obligations. An example illustrates this principle clearly. If a landowner in the Harquahala INA purchases an undeveloped 200-acre parcel adjacent to an existing farm, they cannot legally drill a well or begin irrigating crops, even though their neighbors' fields remain active. The INA designation protects the aquifer from further decline by limiting groundwater use to those lands with pre-existing irrigation history. However, the new owner could pursue alternative land uses, such as solar energy development or dryland grazing, which do not require groundwater withdrawals. The creation of INAs underscores Arizona's commitment to equitable water management that respects both historic users and ecological limits. It represents a recognition that not all areas of the state can support agricultural expansion indefinitely. As water scarcity intensifies across the Southwest, INAs serve as a vital tool for protecting rural aquifers and ensuring that existing agricultural and domestic users retain access to groundwater for generations to come. From a real estate perspective, the designation of an INA significantly affects land value, marketability, and permissible use. Properties within an INA may be less attractive for agricultural buyers, but more appealing for non-irrigated development or conservation purposes. A licensee must disclose to prospective buyers that the property lies within an INA, as this constitutes a material fact affecting its potential use. Buyers interested in agricultural investment must also be advised that no new irrigation wells can be drilled, and that groundwater withdrawals are strictly limited to grandfathered rights. In Cherry v. Steiner, 1982, the Federal District Court reaffirmed the state's constitutional authority to restrict groundwater use and manage resources through both AMAs and INAs. This case remains a foundational precedent for upholding the legitimacy of these designations, ensuring that Arizona can regulate water extraction to maintain economic stability and environmental balance. Review summary. An irrigation non-expansion area, INA, is a region where the expansion of irrigated agriculture using groundwater is prohibited to prevent further aquifer depletion. Established by the ADWR under the Groundwater Management Act of 1980, INAs restrict new irrigation to lands that were previously irrigated during a designated historical period. They play a vital role in preserving groundwater for existing users while preventing overuse in rural agricultural basins. For real estate professionals, it is essential to disclose INA status and educate clients about the implications of groundwater restrictions on land value and development potential. Discussion prompts. Why were irrigation non-expansion areas created in Arizona? Answer: to prevent further groundwater depletion in regions already experiencing significant overdraft from agricultural irrigation. What is the key difference between an AMA and an INA? Answer: AMAs manage groundwater through comprehensive conservation plans and permits, while INAs simply prohibit the expansion of new irrigation without broader regulatory frameworks. Why must real estate agents disclose that a property lies within an INA? Answer: because it limits the ability to irrigate or develop the land for agricultural purposes, which can affect its value and intended use. Closing remarks. The designation of irrigation non-expansion areas represents Arizona's pragmatic response to water scarcity in its most vulnerable regions. By balancing historic agricultural rights with modern conservation needs, INAs ensure that limited groundwater reserves are protected from overuse. For real estate professionals, understanding and communicating these designations is essential for guiding clients toward informed and responsible land use decisions in an era where water availability increasingly defines property value.